what type of content do you normally come across on your For You page or your Explore page?
It's mostly cooking and baking because what else is there to do in Coventry? But
Alright, so hi everyone, I'm Samantha. I'm from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I'm currently a first year law student here at Warwick. And I'm in the liaison department, so I'm one of the liaison associates.
Hi, I'm Wayne. I'm a second year neuroscience student currently studying here at Warwick. I'm from Singapore and I'm an operations associate for WAC.
Hello, I'm Douglas. I'm a second year student studying politics and international studies. I'm from Hong Kong.
How's everyone finding term 1?
So I think term 1 is quite okay for me because I did law in my A-levels, so I've actually covered some of the modules. So I'm still coping, but however, I'm still actually coping with degree because I do have a lot of readings to do on a weekly basis. But so far so good as of now.
Term 1 for me has been okay. Like I said just now, I'm in second year, so I've been here for a full year. Everything is kind of not as fresh. I've gotten used to the routine in my first year. So yeah, I'm coping pretty well.
It has been some headache at the start of the term, but I'm getting back in and settle down and look forward to the rest of the year.
How often do you find yourself using social media platforms like TikTok, and what type of content do you normally come across on your For You page or your Explore page?
Alright, so for me, I don't use TikTok, but instead I use a lot of Instagrams and other online shopping app like Amazon. So the content that usually appear on my Instagram is more on cooking and baking because cooking and baking are my hobbies. So and similarly it goes to Amazon. So Amazon would actually recommend me to buy some cooking utensils and baking stuff as well.
I spend way too much time on social media, more than I want to admit. So I won't be answering that part of the question. But yeah, I use TikTok, Instagram, these kind of stuff that gives you tons of content to mindlessly scroll down. It's mostly cooking and baking because what else is there to do in Coventry? But other than that, there's also stuff like animals. Yeah, I have a lot of cat videos. Yeah, stuff that I watch right before I go to sleep.
I try not to dive into social media that much, but I can't resist. So I found myself often scroll down on Instagram or YouTube, especially YouTube Shorts, and it's just so addictive. I find myself so guilty after doing that, but I often scroll news or like random meme videos, and depends on the mood. But the algorithm kind of decide what content is sold on my device. So yeah.
Do you find it difficult to keep up with current events from Southeast Asia or your home country?
Alright, so for me, so far so good because I do follow a lot of local newspapers on Instagram and Facebook as well. So every day, all the news will just pop up immediately if there's anything happen in my home country and as well as other Southeast Asia countries. So usually I will just follow the local newsletter like The Star, which is one of the biggest newspapers company in Malaysia, and CNA News and World of Buzz, things like that. So it's actually quite easy for me to catch up with all the current events that are happening in Southeast Asia and Malaysia as well.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of apps now. Everything is so accessible from your smartphone. I think I have like 4 different news apps. 2 of them are like based in Singapore, like China News Asia and the Straits Times, which is like the newspaper in Singapore that we read. And then there's stuff like South China Morning Post, The Guardian, and yeah, New York Times as well. So every day you just get like a few notifications on it. And I set the filters on the apps to be from my home country. So whenever they post a new article, I get a notification and I just just read it for fun. Yeah, so I think it's been pretty easy to keep on top of things.
Yeah, I look at international local newspapers as well, but like just receiving news from the social media mainly. It's convenience and I enjoy it. But I'll always look into the news app as well, so to avoid to be dictated by the algorithm and try to look at different news sources because the credibility of the newspaper is becoming like low and low. So I have to carefully like filter like the more trustworthy news.
The article discusses confirmation bias and how personalized information on social media can reinforce one's pre-existing beliefs. Have you ever noticed this happening in your own online experience, where you tend to engage more with content that aligns with your own views?
Alright, so for me, I think it really depends on how you run that one issue, because sometimes different sources or different websites will actually give you different results or outcome or consequences. So personally, I do think we as a viewer, we actually need to filter it out by our own selves, by using our own rationality, and not to just believe on one source, but just to actually look at few other sources to ensure that what we think it's correct is actually accurate.
Yeah, I think it's something that I've come across myself, but I think like what Samantha mentioned, it's important to practice your own critical thinking. I think one example for this is when certain government and like political issues come up in Singapore, and then like my For You page is linked to like Singapore, right? So a lot of like things will come up when I'm scrolling TikTok or something like that, and people will share certain very angry emotions, or maybe not angry, but very heated and passionate when you scroll through the comments section. I think the algorithm kind of picks up upon that, and then it starts to recommend me more and more videos that share that same passionate and heated argument. So I think I personally don't align with those beliefs, so I think it's easier for me to step back and realize that this is something that they are trying to convince me to believe, but it's not what I personally believe. So it's easy for me to realize that what's happening, and try and steer myself away from going down that path. But I can see why it's dangerous. Yeah, confirmation bias being like you get your own little bubble when you don't really see another view of what the issue really is. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with the information bubbles and the filters. And like the personalized information on social media definitely benefit the social media company itself, that can tailor-made advertisement to their users, but it's kind of foster the growth of like fake news and fake information, and also like creating like echo chamber and stuff. And they often like we often love people who have the same or similar view with us, so we're gonna form a little circle between us, and it's gonna affect democracy, affect election, and it's gonna be heat up, and then it will cause a lot of social problems from the social media. So as a user, I agree with Samantha is about like how you critically choose your news sources, and then think critically and build your own opinion, and don't often influenced by a single sources or single origin. So I think what we can do is notice that we get controlled by what we have been provided to see, but we can choose to see different sources, and build an opinion on yourself.
Touching on the point of using different sources, the article suggests that using international news outlets might be a way to counteract biases in domestic media. What do you think about relying on international sources for news about your own country? Do you think it provides a more independent perspective?
Alright, so for my own country, I think relying on international sources gives me a better view of that one matter, especially for political related issues. So because for instance, for Malaysia, perhaps some newsletter company may be actually biased into that one or two political parties. So this will actually influence how the citizens think of that political party. So I think relying on international sources like BBC or other international sources are quite reliable. And yeah, I think we should actually look at what other country reporters are thinking about it, or other countries' professionals are thinking, like what is their opinion on that one particular issue about my own home country. And I think it definitely provides a more independent perspective, and it's actually more transparent by just relying on the local newsletters information on, let's say, Malaysia's politics. Yeah.
Yeah, I fully agree with that point. Similar to Malaysia, Singapore's major news outlets are fully government owned. So whenever we read something that's in the newsletter or in the newspaper, we have to realize that all of the content has been screened through by the government, and it is what is deemed appropriate for the masses to read about and understand. So every time I read about something in the Straits Times, which I mentioned just now, I'm always excited to see what the foreign countries say about it, because it's a more uncontrolled view, maybe, that from the government. So it allows us to have a little bit more freedom to interpret the issue how we want to. Yeah, so I think it's important. And given Singapore's whole status as a country where we tend to want to foster good relations with other countries, and we try and be all neutral about certain things, I think it's good for us to see it from the overseas perspective. Yeah.
I think it definitely provide a more independent perspective, because there's no there's no stakeholder in the news outlet, less stakeholders in the news outlet. But when I read the article, I think suggesting using international news outlet may not be the best way, or actually when we browse in news, we should always look in international perspective and local perspective. But sometimes domestic media field is also very important. But I know that it is an issue in Malaysia when most of the newspaper is owned by not the state, but individual who have links with the government, and it's only one newspaper who is run privately and claim independently. So but I still think it's good that you embrace the media which have bias, and you just have to look at it critically. For example, I'm from Hong Kong, so there is state media from China, but I often look in the news of the state media as well, and to see what perspective they give in. But I know that I can use my intelligence or my critical thinking to identify which is more being truth or not. But it's often a good practice to look at the opposite view or the biased view to build your own opinion more roundly.
How does the news you see online, whether that be from domestic or international news platforms, affect your political views or your thoughts on current events in your country?
Okay, so for me, I think what influences me the most is what the citizen think about that one political matter, let's say. So I think news platforms don't really affect my political views, but the comment sections, yes, because the comment sections are places where citizens actually reflect their views and their inner feeling out. So I think that matters most actually as a democratic country like Malaysia, because by listening to what the citizens feel and what are their thoughts are actually important for the rulers to rule the country. So I wouldn't say the domestic or international news platforms are influencing my political views, but maybe the comment section, because as a citizen of Malaysia, I do sometimes feel why the citizen would actually be frustrated or maybe satisfied with the government's policy. So I think that is what matters the most actually, after all, as a democratic country like Malaysia.
Yeah, I think the stuff that, or at least I try to not let the stuff I see online affect my own political views or my thoughts on current events because, like I said, it's my own views, right? So as much as other people are having their own opinions and we're all having like a discussion online about certain issues that are happening in the country, I try to keep my views like true to myself and not let other people affect it. Of course, there are times where people's views align with me and then I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I agree with your argument. But I think the important thing is to hold on to your own beliefs and your own thoughts about it because, okay, this sounds very lame, but don't be a sheep. Like, don't just hop onto the bandwagon of what everybody is thinking online just because it's the majority and it's easy to be part of the majority and agree to one certain viewpoint on something.
I like your attitude to hold your own opinion. But like news that we see online is like kind of the way mainly to interact with the world and to see what's going on with the world. So it's definitely have some impact in your field, like because your political opinion is formed by your books, your background, your like the news and stuff. But it is because there's so much important about news climbing up as like becoming our thoughts and our view on current events. Politicians or the political party can use the media as a tool to influence your view or influence how to interpret certain event in the country. So like probably a politician will pay the media or independent like influencer on social media to publish content that is more fit to the political interest and stuff. So it has to be very, very careful about which content is state funded or funded by politician or party, and then to see which news outlet or influencer is truly independent and not advertisement.
All right, now let's take a break from the serious questions. Any interesting plans for Christmas break?
For me, I'll be flying to Ireland to meet my friend for during Christmas week. So I'll be spending around 7 to 8 days at Ireland with my friend to celebrate Christmas and Boxing Day.
Yeah, it's gonna be a busy December for me. So once term ends on the 8th, I think, I'm going to London from the 9th to the 16th because someone from Singapore is visiting and I promised to show them around London. Then I'm coming back to Coventry on the 17th to like regroup, to wash all my clothes and stuff. Flying on the 19th to Stockholm, and then we're doing like Stockholm, then Germany until like 4th of January. So yeah, I basically won't be in Coventry for like the whole of December.
Oh, that's good. Because I think I made my stay in Coventry the most part, but I plan some travel and finding work opportunities and to hopefully get some money for Christmas.
Finally, last question. What do you think is your greatest lesson learned from term 1?
I think it's to manage your time nicely and enjoy your uni days, because uni is not just about learning and studying, but it's to social and to make new friends who may actually become your lifelong friends. So I think that's the most important thing in uni. And because like I'm not very sure about others, like for me, I think this is the last phase that I'll be going to school. After my degree, and I will be going to the bar school as well. Yeah, so bar school, I think I would just count bar school as uni as well. So yeah, after this 3 to 4 years, I will not be going to any university as well, so long as I'm actually able to be a qualified barrister or lawyer here. Yeah, so I think to have fun is important as well, not just studying. Of course, studying is important as well.
Yeah, okay. Her sounds really cool. Now mine sounds very lame. I learned to not use so many potatoes in my gnocchi. So for context, I made gnocchi last night, right? And then I spent an hour and a half kneading the dough. I used like a whole 1 kilogram of flour to knead the dough, and then it was still sticky. Yeah, so lesson learned, don't use too many potatoes.
Joining societies, that's a great way to meet friends and have a chill time. apart from work, but also academic work is also important. So to meet your deadlines, plan your essays or assignment or whatever, and then do it earlier and then cram it up, and try not to use extensions. But yeah, I think I'm picking up this year too. So.
All right, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.